Hey there, this is Matthias from Interactive Asia. In this short movie, I want to introduce our new software, OptiREMOTE. It's an application which gives you the ability to control a Ventus template in very, very simple ways. So what you will get from us is a folder, and in that folder you have this OptiREMOTE program folder. So in this program folder, we are using Ventus 5, in my case today. And in that folder, I just double-click my OptiREMOTE application. After a couple of seconds, OptiREMOTE should start. And this is then basically the user interface of OptiREMOTE. We made a lot of improvements in this new feature or in this new release. We spend a lot of work into the cluster manager. So, of course, cluster manager means you really can control multiple machines even in different clusters to run your Ventus presentation. In this case, in this demo, I just showed you locally on one machine. So first thing I have to do, I click here my cluster manager, I select local and I connect. When I click connect, then OptiREMOTE is basically connecting directly here to my Ventus machine service, to my Ventus 5 VMS. In case you get an error here, then make sure that you already installed Ventus, that your VMS is up and running and so on. This is, like I said already, this is a requirement. So once I selected my cluster, or once I connected OptiREMOTE together with my Ventus machine service, I can go here to my topology editor. In my topology editor, we have here our root. Then we have here our first cluster, and our first cluster has one local machine. Here we can add more machines if we want. We can give them names, can give them different IP addresses, MAC addresses, wake on LAN passwords, and so on. In that case, I just have one machine, like I said already. So next step, I have to click to my local cluster. And what we can find then is a little browser which shows us all the Ventus projects or all the Ventus presentations which our Ventus machine service can find. That means if you have a specific presentation and you cannot find it here, then you have to go actually to your Ventus machine serving, right click, say configure, and make sure that the local path, the folder where your Ventus project or your Ventus presentation is saved, is accessible here from the Ventus machine service. Yeah? In my case, I have a little demo which I will use for this demonstration, and this is exactly here on my desktop. Yeah. So, and this is exactly this Ventus presentation. So I can show you quickly here. It's stored exactly here. Yeah? This is my OptiREMOTE Mediawall 1.0 Ventus 5 VPR. And that's exactly the VPR I want to open now with OptiREMOTE. So I click in my browser window and I choose my OptiREMOTE Mediawall, exactly that one. I click select, and now I have a couple of different options. I have option, for example, these options for now are just working during the startup, so it's not a live options which you maybe know from Ventus already. These options for now are just get executed once you start here this presentation. So for this demo, I don't want to start it in full screen, my Ventus presentation. I want to start it windowed. I want to see the splash screen, and this is all good. So I can set up here my log levels if I want, but that info is also very, very good for now. So once I did that, I just click start. And now our Ventus presentation, the Mediawall, should start now. This is an error message. This is coming from the cluster. This is, don't worry about that. We will get it out in the next release. So, okay, now you can see, now we have already running Ventus presentation. This is a little sample demonstration, or not a sample, it's actually a template which we are using for events, for video walls. You can use it in different resolutions. You can just simply paint with it. We also use that and give it to clients which are buying our interactive touch controller, OptiTUIO. And of course, we have a couple of more features here. So let me show you that features. Once you started your runtime, now everything is up and running. OptiRemote is connected to our Ventus presentation. Next step, I go here to my configuration file and I click one-time update. Once I click update, then Ventus tells me, sorry, OptiRemote tells me which scene are accessible, right? Or which values are accessible. So I just have here my Mediawall version 3. I know this scene in the Ventus presentation holds all my scene data, which I want to control from outside. So I click one time inspect, and now I have access to all my properties in this Mediawall presentation. What we can do here, we can select between a solid color, image, or a movie. If I click my solid color, then I have here a property to change my solid color to green, to brown, to whatever I want, and I'm still able to paint. But of course, in this case, I want to show you something more interesting. So let's say we are starting with a movie, a backdrop movie. So I change my source for my background, yeah, to movie, and then I find my movie property and I click my browser and the file browser opens, and now let's go a little bit finding a movie, movies. Let's use a movie like this, for example. So once I click it, Ventus puts it directly into the backdrop, and I can here change my volume. I can have a start in a loop. So in this case, I will make it a bit more silent. Let's turn it totally off because I want that you hear me and not the music of the background movie. So now we have a backdrop movie, and you can see we still can paint. If we select back to solid color, we go back to the solid color. If we want to add an image, then we just select the image input and we select here any image, whatever we want. Let's find one. Let's go to backdrop 2x full HD. It doesn't matter. Let's use that one. And here we have our image backdrop. So once you finish to set up all that stuff, then you can left click onto that headline background, and now background settings are done. Next one, I want to set up a logo. Let's hope that I have a logo. And where do we have a logo? I think I have a logo somewhere on my desktop. Here is my logo. Let's use that logo, and let's move that logo a little bit to the top left corner, for example. Next step, logo is good. I'm happy with. Paint is also okay, but I want to change the color. I want to have it white now, so I change my paint color to white. I have a lot of setups here. You can find it out by yourself. Paint is finished. So next step, what we have here is our slideshow, or a picture wall, however we call it. I can add an image folder. In that case, let me find the image folder for you. This is not what I want. This is where we go images, and then let's use here some mobile phones. So now he needs a bit, because depending on how much pictures are in that folder, he needs to load that pictures. And now you can see we have 24 valid images found in this folder. Now I have to tell him, hey, I want to use all the 24 images, and I want to have column 4 by 5, for example, or let's say 6 by 4, because then we have exactly the amount of pictures what we want to show, 24 in that case. Yeah. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 columns, and we have 4 rows. That's exactly 24 pictures. What I can do now, I can change the size of my pictures here. I can move my root position of the slideshow here a little bit more to the center, or even let's bring it here to the left. Then let's change the size of the image a bit, and let's also change the size of the pictures. Not the size, I mean the offset, or the column space, the row space in that case. So I do it like that. So let's say this is what I want now. this is already interactive. So you also, if you go here through all the settings, then you can find a lot of interesting settings. For example, how the scaling factor of the picture, the time until the picture gets resetted back to its root position, and all that stuff. So like I said, you can here find everything also with tooltips. So let's say this one is good now. I'm happy with that slideshow. What we also have in that little template, we have two content windows. You just enable that content window number one, and then I can choose between a movie or a live input. The live input will not work right now because I use my webcam, and this is the only live input what I have here right now. I use my webcam to capture myself down here, right? You can move the position in X and Y. You can change the size. And here we go. And here we go again. So I want to have two content windows because I have a bit space. So let's push that to 12.5. By the way, you also can control this value, same like in Ventus. If you know Ventus, if you have already experience with Ventus, then if you press and hold inside this value area the left mouse button and you move left and right, then you just can move it. If you hold Control, then you get smaller steps. If you hold Control and Shift, then you make much more smaller steps. This we took over from the Ventus interface. So let's do it again. 12 and 6, and we say here 8. I do that because I want to have a second content window. So, and here we do the same. I want to have you on position 12. I want to have you on, let's say, -6. And I want to give you the size of this one we have to see now because I have to use some other movie. Let's use a movie here too. I use this movie. And I just pause it. That's same like volume 0. So let's bring that also to 8. And here we have now our interactive Mediawall application. We can paint, we can interact with the pictures. That's pretty much all what you need to know about OptiREMOTE and this Mediawall application. So maybe the last thing, we have here a little test pattern, because sometimes we need to have a kind of a test pattern, or we just want to show our company's logo. So we have the 4 test patterns here now, which we can use for whatever reason. Right, so, and of course this is, we also can tear down here, we also can bring down here the transparency, and we just can block it for the show then. Exactly. So I think with all that information, you should be able to use OptiREMOTE by yourself. If you want to get more information, just go to our website, which I will show you here, www.interactive-asia.com, and then under products, you can find all our products, and of course also here OptiREMOTE. And just contact us if you want to try it. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.